Jake Harper leaned back in his usual corner booth at Brewed Awakening, a small coffee shop tucked away in downtown Raleigh, North Carolina. The hum of conversation and the hiss of the espresso machine filled the air as he scrolled through his phone, skimming emails from his software engineering team. At 45, Jake was the kind of guy everyone in his suburban neighborhood admired. Steady, dependable, always ready to lend a hand. He'd spent years coaching his daughter Lily's soccer team, cheering her on through every muddy match, and helping his son Noah debug his first coding projects late into the night. His life wasn't flashy, but it was solid, or so he thought. His phone buzzed, snapping him out of his routine. Lily's name flashed on the screen. Jake smiled, expecting a quick update about her college classes at NC State. But when he answered, her voice was tight, almost panicked. "Dad, Mom's hurt. She fell at home and broke her ankle. She's at Wakemed now." Jake's stomach dropped. "Is she okay? Are you with her?" he asked, already grabbing his keys from the table. "She's fine, I think. Just in pain," Lily said, but her words faltered like she was holding something back. "I'm not there. She just called me." Jake frowned. "Who took her to the hospital?" A long pause. I don't know, Dad. She didn't say." Lily's voice cracked, and Jake's instincts kicked in. Something was wrong. Sarah, his wife of 22 years, wasn't the type to keep things vague. Not about something like this. He ended the call with a quick promise to head to the hospital, his mind already racing. Why wouldn't Sarah call him first? And why was Lily so cagey about who got her there? He sped through Raleigh's tree-lined streets, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the road. Wakemed's emergency room loomed ahead, its glass doors reflecting the chaos of his thoughts. Inside, the sterile smell of antiseptic hit him as he navigated past nurses and patients to find Sarah in a curtained-off bay. She sat propped up on a gurney, her left ankle wrapped in a temporary splint, her eyes fixed on her phone. When she saw Jake, her expression flickered, not with relief, but with something closer to unease. "Hey," Jake said, keeping his tone calm despite the knot in his chest. "You okay? What happened?" Sarah tucked her phone away quickly. "I slipped in the kitchen. Stupide accident. It's just a fracture." Her words came too fast, like she'd rehearsed them. "Who brought you here?" Jake asked, watching her closely. Her eyes darted to the side. "A neighbor. They heard me yell and drove me over." Jake's jaw tightened. "Which neighbor?" Tom from down the street," she said, her voice barely steady. "He was passing by." Jake knew Tom Bennett, a smooth-talking marketing guy who worked with Sarah at her ad agency. He'd always seemed too friendly, lingering too long at neighborhood barbecues. But a neighbor passing by at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday? Jake wasn't buying it. He didn't push, though. Not yet. He sat beside her, his silence louder than any question, as the doctor came in to explain the fracture. A clean break, 6 weeks in a cast. Jake nodded, taking it in, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying Lily's hesitation, Sarah's nervous glance. Back home, Sarah hobbled to the couch with crutches, insisting she was fine. Jake watched her, noting how she avoided his eyes, how her fingers fidgeted with her phone. He didn't confront her. Instead, he called Noah, who was studying computer science at UNC Chapel Hill. "Hey, bud, you hear about Mom's accident?" Jake asked, keeping his tone casual. Noah sounded surprised. "No, what happened? Is she okay?" Jake explained briefly, then asked, "You talked to Lily today? She seemed off when she called me." Another pause. Noah's voice dropped. "Yeah, she texted me. Said Mom was at the hospital, but didn't say much else." Jake's grip on the phone tightened. "Noah, if there's something I need to know, tell me." Noah sighed, a heavy sound that carried years of weight. "Dad, it's not my place. But Lily and we've known something for a while. About Mom. It's bad." Jake's heart thudded. "Spit it out, son." "Not over the phone," Noah said. "Can I come over tomorrow? We need to talk in person." Jake agreed, his mind spiraling as he hung up. He glanced at Sarah, now scrolling through her phone on the couch, her face illuminated by the screen's glow. The woman he'd built a life with, 2 kids, a mortgage, decades of shared memories, suddenly felt like a stranger. He didn't sleep that night, his thoughts churning. What had Lily and Noah been hiding? And why did Sarah's story feel like a house of cards ready to collapse? The next morning, Noah arrived, his usual easygoing demeanor replaced by a tense frown. They stepped outside, walking down the quiet cul-de-sac where Jake had taught both kids to ride their bikes. The air was crisp, the kind of fall morning that usually felt refreshing, but today it carried a chill that sank into Jake's bones. Noah stopped near a park bench, his hands shoved in his jacket pockets. "Dad, this is hard," Noah began, his voice low. "When Lily and I were in high school, we found out Mom was seeing someone. Tom Bennett. We caught them together a few times, late nights when you were working, or when Mom said she was running errands." Jake's chest tightened, but he stayed silent, letting Noah continue. "Lily confronted her once," Noah said. "Mom didn't even deny it. She said you were too focused on your job, that you didn't see her anymore. She made it sound like it was your fault. We didn't know what to do, so we kept quiet. We thought maybe it'd stop, especially after we moved to this house. But it didn't." Jake's mind flashed back to those years, his late nights coding, the promotions he chased to secure a future for his family. He'd thought he was doing right by them. Now, every memory felt tainted. "How long?" he asked, his voice steady but cold. "Since we were 16, maybe longer," Noah said. 4 or 5 years at least." Jake nodded, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The betrayal wasn't just Sarah's. It was the years of silence from his kids, the secret they'd carried to protect a family that was already fracturing. But he didn't blame them. They were kids caught in a mess they didn't create. Sarah, though, she made her choices. "Thanks for telling me," Jake said, clapping Noah's shoulder. "I need to think this through." As they walked back, Jake's mind was already shifting gears. He wasn't the type to scream or throw punches. He was a planner, a problem solver. And right now, the problem was clear. His marriage was a lie, and his home was no longer his. But he wouldn't let this break him. He'd find a way out, not with anger, but with precision. As he stepped back into the house, Sarah glanced up, oblivious to the storm brewing inside him. Jake smiled faintly, already calculating his next move. Jake Harper stood in the driveway of his Raleigh home, the morning sun glaring off the pavement as Noah's car pulled away. His son's words still echoed. Sarah, his wife of 22 years, had been cheating with Tom Bennett for at least 5 years. The betrayal stung, but what gnawed at Jake was the secrecy. Lily and Noah carrying the weight of their mother's affair since high school, shielding him from a truth that now felt like a blade. He wasn't angry at them. They were kids caught in a web. But Sarah? She'd built that web, thread by deliberate thread. Back inside, Sarah was on the couch, her ankle propped up, scrolling through her phone with a forced calm. Jake watched her for a moment, noting the way her fingers hesitated, as if expecting a message that never came. He didn't confront her. Not yet. His mind, honed by years of debugging complex code, was already dissecting the problem, searching for the cleanest solution. Rage wouldn't help. He needed clarity, and he needed a plan. That afternoon, Jake drove to his office at a tech firm downtown, a glass building humming with activity. He sat at his desk, ignoring the usual ping of emails, and opened his banking apps. Years of disciplined saving had built a nest egg, $1. $8 million across savings, investments, and retirement accounts. He'd always planned to use it for the kids' future or a comfortable retirement with Sarah. Now, that dream was dead. He started making calls, his financial advisor, his broker, a lawyer friend who owed him a favor. Each conversation was calm, precise, laying the groundwork for what came next. By evening, he was back home, cooking dinner as if nothing had changed. Sarah hobbled to the table, thanking him quietly for the meal. Jake nodded, keeping his tone neutral. "How's the ankle?" he asked, watching her reaction. "Sore, but I'll manage," she said, her eyes flicking away. "Thanks for handling everything." He didn't press her, but her evasiveness fueled his resolve. After dinner, he retreated to his home office, a small space where he'd spent countless nights working. He pulled up his laptop and dug deeper. First, he checked Sarah's phone records through their shared family plan. A pattern emerged: frequent calls and texts to Tom Bennett, often late at night or when Jake was at work. Some dated back years, confirming Noah's story. Then he accessed their joint credit card statements. Charges for lunches, hotel stays, and weekend trips Sarah had called work conferences stood out like red flags. The evidence was undeniable, but Jake wasn't building a case to confront her. He was building an exit. The next morning, Jake called Lily, who was back at NC State. "Hey, kiddo," he said, keeping his voice light. "Can you swing by this weekend? Need to talk about your mom's recovery plan." Lily agreed, her tone wary but warm. Jake knew she felt guilty for keeping Sarah's secret. He didn't blame her, but he needed her perspective. When she arrived Saturday, her soccer bag slung over her shoulder, Jake suggested a walk to a nearby park. The air was crisp, leaves crunching underfoot as they sat on a bench. Lily, I know about Mom and Tom, Jake said bluntly, watching her flinch. Noah told me. I need you to fill in the gaps. Lily's shoulders slumped, her eyes fixed on the ground. I didn't want you to find out like this, Dad. It started when I was 16. I saw them at a coffee shop, acting too close. I told Noah, and we confronted Mom. She said it was nothing, then admitted it, but swore it was over. But it wasn't. I saw texts on her phone last year. She never stopped. Jake's jaw clenched, but he kept his voice steady. Why didn't you tell me? We didn't want to break the family, Lily said, her voice breaking. We thought if we stayed quiet, maybe things would fix themselves. I'm so sorry, Dad. Jake pulled her into a hug, his heart aching for the burden she'd carried. It's not your fault. You were kids. This is on her. That night, Jake's plan solidified. He wouldn't stay in a marriage built on lies, but he wouldn't let Sarah's betrayal define him. He spent hours researching San Diego, a city he'd visited once and loved for its open skies and endless coast. It felt like the opposite of Raleigh's suffocating familiarity. He booked a one-way flight for Monday, using a separate bank account he'd opened that day. He transferred half his savings, $900,000, into it, ensuring Sarah couldn't access it. The rest he left in their joint accounts, enough for her and the kids to live comfortably. This wasn't about punishment, it was about freedom. Sunday morning, Jake drove to a storage unit he'd rented under a friend's name. He packed a single suitcase with essentials, clothes, his laptop, a few keepsakes from the kids' childhoods. No trace of sentimentality for Sarah. Back home, he watched her limp around, oblivious to his plans. When she asked him to grab her pain meds, he did so without a word, his face a mask of calm. But inside, his resolve was ironclad. He'd leave tomorrow, while Sarah was at a follow-up appointment with Lily. No confrontation, no drama, just a clean break. As the sun set, Jake took one last walk through the neighborhood. Kids biked past, and neighbors waved, unaware that he was saying goodbye. He thought of the life he'd built here. Soccer games, late-night coding sessions with Noah, barbecues where Sarah's laughter once felt genuine. It wasn't all a lie, but the truth had poisoned the rest. He didn't hate her. He didn't even want revenge. He just wanted out. Back home, he texted Noah, "Meet me at the airport tomorrow. Don't tell anyone." Noah's reply was instant. "Got it, Dad. I'm with you." Jake powered off his phone, staring out the window into the dark. Tomorrow, he'd walk away from the life he knew, carrying only what mattered, his dignity, his kids' love, and a chance to start over. Sarah's lies had unraveled, and Jake was ready to write his own story. Jake Harper stood in his Raleigh driveway at dawn, the Monday air heavy with the promise of change. His suitcase, packed with only essentials, sat in the trunk of his car. Sarah, his wife of 22 years, was still asleep, her crutches propped against the couch where she'd spent the night. Jake had timed his exit perfectly. Sarah and Lily were due at Wakemed for a follow-up appointment at 9 a.m., giving him a clear window to leave. He'd meet Noah at the airport, board his flight to San Diego, and vanish from the life that had crumbled under Sarah's betrayal. Last night, Jake had finalized everything. His $1.8 million in savings was split. $900,000 moved to a new account for his fresh start. The rest left for Sarah and the kids. He'd sold off stocks, cashed out investments, and wired funds discreetly, leaving no trail. His lawyer friend had ensured the transfers were legal, untouchable. Jake wasn't running out of spite. He was reclaiming his life. Sarah's affair with Tom Bennett, a co-worker uncovered by Noah and Lily, had shattered the illusion of their marriage. 5 years of lies, hidden in plain sight, were enough. Jake drove to Raleigh-Durham International Airport, his hands steady on the wheel. Noah was waiting outside the terminal, his backpack slung over one shoulder, his expression a mix of resolve and worry. Jake parked and stepped out, pulling his son into a quick hug. "You sure about this, Dad?" Noah asked, his voice low. "Never been sure," Jake said, his tone firm. "I'm not abandoning you or Lily. I'm just done living a lie." Noah nodded, his eyes searching Jake's. "What do I tell Mom?" Jake handed him a sealed envelope. "Give her this after I'm gone. It says I know about Tom, and I'm leaving for good. I don't want to fight, just a clean break. You and Lily take care of each other. The money in the joint account is for you both and her." Noah tucked the envelope into his bag. "She'll lose it when she reads this." Let her, Jake said. She made her choices. Now I'm making mine. They walked into the terminal, the buzz of travelers a stark contrast to the weight of their goodbye. At the security gate, Jake turned to Noah. You got my new number. Call if you need me, but don't share it with anyone. Not even Lily, not yet. Noah hugged him tightly. I get it, Dad. Be safe. Jake nodded, then walked through security, his boarding pass to San Diego in hand. As he sat at the gate, his phone buzzed. Lily, texting, at hospital with Mom. Where are you? Jake didn't reply. He powered off his phone and boarded the plane, the hum of the engines drowning out the life he was leaving behind. 6 hours later, Jake landed in San Diego. The Pacific air hit him as he stepped outside, sharp and clean, a world away from Raleigh's stifling familiarity. He rented a modest apartment near Mission Beach, a one-bedroom with a view of the ocean. It was simple, unassuming, perfect for disappearing. He bought a burner phone, activated a local number, and ditched his old device in a dumpster. Every step was deliberate, severing ties to the past. That evening, Jake walked along the boardwalk, the crash of waves steadying his nerves. He wasn't running from pain. He was chasing peace. His first call was to a tech recruiter he'd contacted days ago. By the next morning, he had an interview lined up with a startup looking for a senior software engineer. Jake's skills were sharp, his reputation solid. The job was his by the end of the week. It wasn't about the money. He had enough to live comfortably, but about purpose. He needed to build something new, not just for himself, but for the man he was becoming. Back in Raleigh, Sarah's world was unraveling. Lily had driven her to the hospital, where the doctor confirmed her ankle was healing, but needed another week in a cast. When they returned home, the house felt off, too quiet. Sarah called out for Jake, but no answer came. Lily found the envelope on the kitchen counter, addressed to Sarah in Jake's neat handwriting. Sarah tore it open, her hands shaking as she read. I know about you and Tom. I've known for years, thanks to the kids. I'm done. The house, car, and half our savings are yours. Don't look for me. I'm starting over. Sarah's face drained of color. He's gone, she whispered, crumpling the note. She dialed Jake's number, but went straight to voicemail. She texted, called again, then tried Noah. Where's your father? She demanded when he picked up. Noah's voice was flat. He left, Mom. He knows everything. Sarah's panic spiraled. She texted Lily, who was already pulling into her dorm's parking lot. Dad's gone. Did you know? Lily's reply was curt. He found out about Tom. What did you expect? Sarah sat alone, the weight of her choices crashing down. She'd justified her affair as a harmless escape, a way to feel alive. Now it had cost her Jake. In San Diego, Jake ignored the flood of messages from Sarah. Pleas, excuses, accusations. He responded only to Noah, texting, I'm safe. Settled. Tell your mom to move on, like I am. He asked Noah to relay one final message to Sarah. The truth was out, and he was free. No more lies, no more pretending. Jake spent his first week exploring San Diego's rhythm, jogging along the beach, grabbing coffee at a local shop, signing up to mentor at a community coding boot camp. Each action felt like a brick in a new foundation. He wasn't erasing his kids from his life. He'd made that clear to Noah. But Sarah? She was a chapter closed. The betrayal, the years of deception, had clarified one thing. Jake deserved better. And he was going to find it one deliberate step at a time. Jake Harper woke to the sound of waves crashing outside his San Diego apartment. The Pacific's rhythm a steady reminder of his new beginning. 3 weeks had passed since he'd left Raleigh, his wife Sarah, and the wreckage of their 22-year marriage. The $900,000 he'd taken from their savings was now his foundation, carefully invested in a mix of index funds and a small tech consultancy he'd launched. His job, a local startup, kept him sharp, while mentoring at a coding boot camp gave him purpose. At 45, Jake was rebuilding, step by calculated step, far from the lies that had unraveled his past. His burner phone buzzed with a text from Noah, his son, at UNC Chapel Hill. Mom's freaking out. Keeps asking where you are. I gave her your letter. She's not handling it well. Jake read the message, his jaw tight. He'd expected Sarah's panic. Her affair with Tom Bennett, exposed by Noah and Lily, had shattered the facade she'd maintained for years. Jake's letter, left for her to find, was blunt. He knew about Tom, had left half their savings, the house, and the car, and was gone for good. He texted Noah back. Let her process it. Focus on you and Lily. I'm Euphina. He meant it. San Diego's open skies and bustling streets felt like freedom, not exile. Back in Raleigh, Sarah's world was collapsing. She sat in the hospital parking lot after another ankle checkup, her phone screen filled with unanswered texts to Jake. "Please, just talk to me," she'd written, followed by, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this." No reply came. Lily, who'd driven her, was distant, her responses clipped. "You lied to us for years, Mom," Lily said, pulling out of the lot. "Dad's gone because of it. What did you think would happen?" Sarah had no answer. She'd justified her affair as a spark in a stale marriage. But now, alone with her choices, the weight was crushing. Noah, meanwhile, was caught between loyalty to his father and pressure from his mother. Sarah called him daily, her voice swinging from desperation to anger. "He can't just disappear. We're still married," she'd say. Noah kept his father's confidence, revealing nothing about Jake's new life. But he felt the strain. Lily was pulling away from Sarah too, focusing on her studies and soccer. The family, once a tight unit, was fracturing, and Noah was the only thread holding it together. He texted Jake again. "Mom's pushing me to find you. I haven't said anything. You sure about this?" Jake's reply was quick. "You're doing the right thing. Stay strong. Call if you need me." He didn't want Noah torn apart, but he couldn't go back. The betrayal, 5 years of Sarah's affair, hidden while Jake coached Lily's games and helped Noah code, had severed any trust. He'd left enough money to ensure Sarah and the kids were secure. Now, he was done carrying her lies. In San Diego, Jake's days found a rhythm. He worked mornings at the startup, debugging code and leading a team of young engineers. Afternoons, he mentored at the boot camp, teaching kids from rough neighborhoods how to build apps. One student, a 17-year-old named Miguel, reminded Jake of Noah, sharp, eager, but weighed down by family chaos. Helping Miguel debug his first program felt like a small redemption, a way to give what he wished he'd given his own kids before the truth came out. Evenings, Jake jogged along Mission Beach, the sunset painting the sky in hues Raleigh never saw. Each run cleared his mind, solidifying his resolve. This was his life now, not Sarah's shadow. Sarah, back in Raleigh, tried to track Jake. She called his old co-workers, his lawyer friend, even the bank, but every lead was a dead end. Jake had covered his tracks, new accounts, a burner phone, no forwarding address. She hired a private investigator, burning through savings, but the trail stopped at the Raleigh airport. "He's gone, ma'am," the investigator said. "No credit card activity, no phone pings. He doesn't want to be found." Sarah's anger gave way to despair. Tom Bennett, her lover, was still around, but their relationship felt hollow now, a fling exposed as reckless. She stopped calling him, retreating into isolation. Lily visited Noah at Chapel Hill, her frustration spilling over. "Mom acts like she's the victim," she said, tossing her soccer ball between her hands. "She cheated, lied, and now Dad's gone. I don't know how to deal with her." Noah nodded, understanding her anger. He'd carried the same secret, seen the same late-night texts between Sarah and Tom. "Dad's okay," Noah said carefully. "He just needed out. We got to figure out our own path now." Jake, unaware of Sarah's futile search, kept building. He leased a small office for his consultancy, taking on freelance projects to supplement his income. His investments were performing well, pushing his net worth toward $1. $2 million. But money wasn't the goal, freedom was. He emailed Noah, setting up a secure channel for future contact, and asked him to check on Lily. "Make sure she's okay," Jake wrote. "I'll always be there for you too, but I can't come back. Not after everything." A month into his new life, Jake got a call from Noah. "Mom's falling apart," Noah said. "She's not eating much, keeps crying. Lily's barely talking to her. I don't know what to do." Jake listened, his heart heavy but resolute. "Use the money I left," he said. "Get her help if she needs it, therapy, whatever. You and Lily lean on each other. I'm here if you need me, but I can't fix her." Noah agreed, his voice steadier. Jake hung up, staring at the ocean. Sarah's consequences were her own. He'd given her enough. Half their life savings, the house, a chance to move on. Now, he was choosing himself. Jake Harper stood on the balcony of his San Diego apartment, the Pacific Ocean stretching endless before him. 3 years had passed since he'd left Raleigh, severing ties with Sarah, his wife of 22 years, after her affair with Tom Bennett came to light. His new life was steady, a thriving tech consultancy, mentoring a local coding boot camp, and a $1.8 million nest egg grown from smart investments. At 48, Jake had found peace, not in revenge, but in building a life on his terms. His kids, Noah and Lily, remained his anchor, connected through secure texts and occasional visits. But Sarah was a closed chapter. In Raleigh, Sarah's life had unraveled. After Jake's departure, her attempts to find him, private investigators, calls to his old colleagues, yielded nothing. His letter, revealing he knew about her 5-year affair with Tom, had left her reeling. The house, car, and $900,000 Jake left were enough to live on, but the emptiness was heavier. Tom, once her escape, drifted away, their relationship crumbling under the weight of exposure. Sarah lived alone, her days marked by regret and dwindling savings. Lily, now a senior at NC State, kept her distance, focusing on soccer and her studies. Noah, at UNC Chapel Hill, was the only one still checking in, but even he was guarded, torn between pity and resentment. Jake's phone buzzed as he sipped his morning coffee. A text from Noah. "Dad, can we meet? Need to talk about Mom." Jake agreed, suggesting Noah fly to San Diego for the weekend. He'd always kept an open line for his kids, but Sarah's name rarely came up. When Noah arrived, they walked along Mission Beach, the late afternoon sun glinting off the water. Noah, now 23, carried a weight in his expression that Jake recognized, the same burden he'd seen when Noah first revealed Sarah's betrayal. "Mom's not doing well," Noah said, kicking at the sand. "Tom left her last year. She's broke, barely getting by. Lily and I have been helping with bills, but it's tough. She's different now. Quiet, lost." Jake listened, his face unreadable. He'd expected this. Sarah's choices had consequences. "What do you need from me?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Noah hesitated. "I don't know. I just thought you should know. Lily's angry, says Mom deserves it. I'm not sure what's right anymore." Jake nodded, his mind sharp as ever. He'd built a new life, his consultancy now employing 3 engineers, his investments pushing his net worth to $3 million. But he wasn't heartless. Sarah's affair had shattered their family, but Noah and Lily didn't deserve to carry her burden. "I'll help," Jake said. "Not for her, but for you and Lily, so you can move forward." Back at his apartment, Jake wired $1.5 million to Noah's account, with clear instructions. Use it to cover Sarah's expenses and ensure Lily's stability. Rent, tuition, whatever they needed. "Manage it wisely," Jake told him over the phone. "No contact with me about it. No thank yous from her. Just make sure they're okay." Noah, voice thick with emotion, agreed. "You're a better man than most, Dad," he said before hanging up. In Raleigh, Noah met Lily at a campus coffee shop to explain Jake's decision. "Dad sent money," he said, showing her the bank transfer. "Enough for Mom to live comfortably, and for us to not worry. He doesn't want anything from her, not even an apology." Lily's eyes widened, then softened. "He's still taking care of us, even after everything. I don't know if I could do that." "He's not doing it for her," Noah said. "It's for us, so we don't have to carry her mess." They set up a trust for Sarah, ensuring she had enough for rent, medical bills, and daily needs. Sarah, now 47, accepted the help silently, her pride eroded by years of regret. She sent one email to Noah, asking him to thank Jake. Noah didn't pass it on, respecting his father's wishes. Sarah's life stabilized, but the distance between her and her kids remained, a quiet consequence of her choices. Jake, meanwhile, moved to a smaller condo in La Jolla, craving a quieter corner of San Diego. He spent mornings coding, afternoons mentoring, and evenings walking the cliffs, the ocean's vastness a reminder of his freedom. Noah visited twice a year, their bond growing stronger through honest conversations about life, not the past. Lily started calling too, her anger softening as she saw Jake's generosity. "You didn't have to help, Mom," she texted once. Jake replied, "I did it for you. Keep shining, kid." 5 years after leaving Raleigh, Jake stood on his balcony, a faint smile on his face. His consultancy was thriving, his investment secure, and his kids were carving their own paths. Noah interning at a tech firm, Lily coaching youth soccer. Sarah, Noah had mentioned, was living quietly, her life modest but stable. Jake felt no bitterness, only clarity. His act of generosity wasn't forgiveness. It was closure, a final severing of the ties that once bound him to her lies. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake felt a rare lightness. He'd rebuilt not just a life, but a legacy of integrity for his kids. Sarah's betrayal had been a wound, but Jake's response, leaving, thriving, and giving without resentment, was his triumph. He didn't need her to know it. The ocean, the work, the quiet evenings, they were enough.